Hey, 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 welcome back. Welcome back to the weekly collective reading. This is a Psychic Soul Healer channel. I'm going to do again a collective reading. So know that energy is fluid. Roles could be reversed. Just interpret the message as it best resonates with you. Also know on this channel and on my channels, I like to dive deep within the reading. So I do look at everything, but we take a lot more time to look at the spiritual blocks, the shadows, to see how they play it as karmic themes to help you understand why you're attracting who you're attracting, right? If there's many different realities that play out at one time, why would you choose to stay in a reality that keeps you stuck in a place of feeling not good enough, not worthy? Again, when you're connected to a karmic, they have the potential to do this. Again, to trigger us. We don't want to be connected to someone that triggers us. We wouldn't choose that. But see, the universe always brings us what we need. So when we can see our situation from a spiritual perspective, it allows us to really heal. And healing is again seeing things from a different perception, because then we can see how we contribute to the imbalances within the connection. So it's not just about, again, what your person did do, what they're going to do. Yes, those are important elements, but what's also important is, like, why am I ruminating? Why can't I let go of the toxic connection? Was this person really, someone that wanted to hurt me, deliberately wanted to hurt me, or is it just something that they're just need healing and they're just unconscious? Because again, if the person's unconscious, because you can handle the situation differently than obviously someone that is intentionally trying to hurt you, right? So this is why we want to know. Okay. So let's see what the underlining energy is. The underlining energy is always on the first card that I pull out. Is the underlining energy that tells us why everyone does what they do. It's very important when you're dealing with a person that wears masks, create facades. We're not coming from their reality. They're usually coming from their wound, a wound. So it's unstructured is the underlining energy. Ugh. I'm already irritated, and I'm going to tell you why. Because I feel like you're in separation from someone that wants to come back, but they don't want like a committed type relationship. They don't want a monogamous relationship. They want they want it to be unstructured the way that it was before, which is why you're probably not in connection with this person anymore. Again, they're getting impatient though. And so what this person is fearing is almost like you don't care. You don't care. And now this person is saying, well, they don't have much to work with. They don't have the upper hand. They can't just come back in, you know, with it being unstructured. So I feel like you're kind of sitting in a Mexican standstill, but they're getting impatient. So let's see how that's triggering this person. Let's look at the spiritual cards first. I'm praying you'll come back after everything that's happened between us. I worry that you won't forgive me and allow me another chance. So this person's actually worried. I'm not going to give in to fear. I know fear is only an illusion. So I feel like, you know, this person has a lot of mixed energy. They do have genuine feelings for you, but again, they want things on their terms, and that they have a lot of fear based on past relationships. And, this person does have this unconditional connection towards you. So it's almost like this is a soulmate type of connection. This is like a twin flame connection. However, this person is realizing that a lot of time has gone by, and you're not coming back. That's why they're getting impatient, because I feel like intuitively they know that, and really they know what to do. but they're fearful about it. They say that they're not going to give in to fear, but that's what we see that they're doing here. So I just wanted to see where they were, but where they are is that they don't really want to do anything. They would love it if you contacted them and if you came back into their life where they didn't have to have a commitment, where they could, come and go, where whatever the relationship that you had before, where this person came and went in and out of your life, this is what they want. And what it is that they're paranoid because what they see is you haven't talked to them. You let go. And I don't know whether they realize that you let go when you let go, or they're just realizing it now, but they're now impatient because they're saying, well, it's been a really long time. This isn't a game anymore. Where I don't think you were ever playing a game with this person. This person likes games. No, they like to keep the relationship in a place of imbalance. And I think that that's because they're imbalanced. Because when people have spiritual blocks, that's what happens. It's like they want the relationship one-sided. But in order for the relationship to be that way, they have to, trigger you, make you worried, like their little games. But what I see here is that they were playing these little games. You let go a long time ago. They're realizing now that you let go. And now they're saying is so much time has gone by. And now they're getting impatient because they're realizing, well, you're probably not coming back. That's why they're paranoid. So they know, but they're, when the person knows, but they're going to sit there and pretend that they don't know. I almost hope because they never came back and gave you an apology. That's the thing. This person, like I said, they want to have their cake and eat it too. And now, instead of coming back and apologizing and saying what they want, they're like still kind of trying to strategize their way back into your life without really offering anything, is what I see here. And I know that that's triggering, but it's almost like this person thinks that however much time that went by, it doesn't really matter. It's almost like we break up to make up. We break up to make up. It's a game, but the relationship never evolves. It never gets better. It never grows. It just stays the same because this person never takes initiative. And what I see is, and when I say initiative like that, the initiative to apologize for their mistakes, for how they treat you. They want you to apologize and to talk to them first. And that's so that they don't really have to have rules in this connection. And rules, that sounds harsh, but it's like respect, how you want to be treated. If you come back to them, you're going to settle for whatever they give to you. This is how they feel. But if they come back to you, it makes them look weak, and now they have to settle for whatever you want, and they don't really want to do that. They like relationships to be in balance, where they're the person that has full control, and they do it by, again, doing things and not really asking for forgiveness. And now, like I said, this person was playing a game. I think that they treated you the way that they treat everybody else. And what happened is that backfired. This person's realizing it backfired. That's why they're paranoid. That's why they're worried. So again, they almost feel like, well, this was a divine union, but it's, again, they want you to get caught up in the drama. They don't really want a connection. What they want is not to miss their chance with you. So there's always a hidden agenda. There's always this person's always wearing a mask. You don't really know what it is, and it's because they have a lot of love blockages. It's just past trauma. So how they treat you is through that trauma. So you never really feel like you have a connection with this person, not a deep connection with this person. You think you might, and then the next day you see them as through a different perception because they're always wearing a mask. You can have a connection with somebody like that, but then over time it creates more and more intimacy problems, which creates trust problems. And that's why they say that there's a fine line between love and hate, because over time, unless a person heals it, it's like you're going to, even though they love you, they're going to sabotage themselves and the connection over and over again, almost like they're non-deserving of the connection. And you're going to say it's going to play out as that they're going to be extremely controlling, but then also childish when you're trying to deal with them. And then there's a sense that they always want to be free, that they have this impulsive energy. So it's like you're being a connection with them. And then what happens is they meet somebody, or maybe they don't want to come home. They want to hang out with friends. They want to act as if they're single, and just out of nowhere, it's two sets of rules. And so you're like, the relationship's unstable. It creates unstable, and you're going to say something, and again, they're going to be childish. And so the relationship winds up, like I said, getting more and more and more toxic. So, like, until this person heals, the relationship's going to be like that. And it doesn't mean that they don't have feelings, because it shows that they have feelings, but they're blocked. And people don't want to know, but I mean, when it's a toxic connection, this is what, it's not that the relationship's a waste, it's that the relationship was the way that the universe is trying to tell you that you need healing. There's never like that wasn't supposed to happen. The thing is that when we attract a person like this, that's so one-sided, and they're so afraid to, get close, so they won't be transparent. They have intimacy issues. They're going to make you feel not worthy, not good enough. And so again, that alone is a karmic lesson that you need to look at, because if you don't heal, it's going to continue to play out again and again. So there are also many others that come from this type of behavior. So you have to say, why did you attract this person into your life? That's, again, so one-sided, because there's no point to even look any further in a card spread like this. It's like this person is like so toxic. They're one-sided. They don't want to fix it. So again, we look at your inner child wounds, and what we see here is neglect, cleansing, nurture, play, oppression, and self-sabotage. So we always look at the inner child wounds to see what is the karmic theme that continues to play out within your life. Why would you attract a person like this into your life? There's someone that, again, doesn't give anything, that is one-sided. Really, they want to be able to do whatever they want to do, and they don't want you to do what would be fair and just for you. It's very imbalanced connection. And someone childish, why would you attract a person like that? Well, when we look and we see oppression and nurturing, well, someone that keeps you down, a parent that oppressed you, whether that was, it could have been a parent, it could have been a teacher, it could have been someone that was important, that was supposed to give you love. So you have to say, where does the trauma come from? Why would you attract a person like this into your life? Well, a person that is oppressing you, it's very one-sided, it's very not fair, and it's, again, parent that's not nurturing you on top of it. So what are you being told? You're being told that you're not good enough, you're not worthy, you're not, all negative energies. If a parent is oppressing you, it's like that's through force, you know. So what happens from that is when you grow up in that type of environment, or you're around a person that does that as a child, what happens is you get self-sabotaging behaviorisms. And it's because you're being conditioned to believe that you're not loved. It's like that you're not lovable, that there's something that's not 100% working in your life. Even if the parent or sibling or whoever it was acted like that, but they didn't mean to act like that. The child self doesn't know the difference. It just sees things from that perception of how that child felt. So it doesn't even have to logically make sense, but understand self sabotaging behaviorisms comes from being around somebody at one time that made you feel not worthy, because people don't have that on their own. They don't just one day wake up and say, you know what, today I'm going to decide not to like myself. No, an experience plays out, the perception, and if it's a child, this is what happens later on. So they weren't allowed to go out and play. Children go out and find themselves through playing. That's why it says be like childlike, because children don't have expectations. They don't, you know, they just go out and they do what their heart calls them to do, what they feel like doing. And it opens up to an adventure for the day, and they don't have any, like I said, expectation about anything. So we're not supposed to have expectation about ourselves. But if we're oppressed, you better believe that over time we're getting, perceptions from that behavior, judgments, and then we begin to judge ourselves. So we can heal. Really, cleansing energy comes from embodying what you love. Again, going out and playing, because you're not your trauma. You know, you are where you choose to put your energy. So I feel like you attracted this person that made you feel exactly the way that you felt growing up around that parent or whoever it was that was very oppressive. And when we go through those experiences, it really does create an energetic template on the emotional body. So we're not conscious of it. It's like, yes, if you bring it to the light, it's like, yes, you remember, but you don't expect that that energy would really be able to dictate, who's coming into your life, or again, what's the dynamic of the connection. But it's all about the karmic theme of how that person is making you feel. Like, what is the message? And here it is. It's like, you're not good enough. Like, I'm going to keep you down. You have to dim your light in order to be with me. That's like this person. And that would be self sabotaging, obviously, to you. So, by not being with this person, that opens up a lot of time. And so, we transmute the negative energy by putting something in its place. So, again, if you were brought up with that energy of being oppressed and self sabotaging, would mean, well, you probably gave too much energy to other people, trying to overgive, overlove, overdo, not really have balance. And balance comes from, again, our passion, where we're choosing to put our time, our hobbies, who we want to become. We have to put time towards that. So if we're giving time to someone that's keeping us down and oppressing, we're obviously not putting it towards growing ourselves. If you grew up in an environment that oppressed you, well, you're not 100% knowing of who you are. That means you haven't found all your gifts, your passions, and interests. And see, it's through the adventures of life that you find yourself, that you really get to know what you like, what you don't like, and it becomes easier to manifest because of being able to embody those energies and really envision. So yes, it is like at this time, Spirit saying you have to have unshakable faith. Faith is a bridge that really connects you to what we sow to what we reap, and that you have to trust fully in yourself. And that's hard to do, but that's a faith walk. Like I said, as you're walking, you begin to grow that faith. And because you see that the universe is conspiring to bring you everything that you need to help you evolve, to help you transform, that it's an unfoldment process. See, no one can take what's yours, and no one has the same path as yours. And your path happens as you're on it. That's why no one can take what's yours, because you don't even know what the path is going to look like. Because again, the path that happens as the universe conspires to bring you what you need, and as you're on that walk. So you begin to grow your faith because you're actually seeing it, you're living it, and you're growing the faith within inside yourself. And so again, the connection was really only to help you transform. That spirit saying you were oppressed. This person would make you feel oppressed again. You have the opportunity to completely transform. And that is, yeah, you don't might not see like anything yet. And you're like, well, I could either be with this person or nothing. And spirit says, well, the nothing means that you have to stand in faith. It's like you're not walking, the other option isn't right, open, clear. And that's why it's a karma